Hello and welcome to my walkthrough of the Pearson Edexcel GCSE November 2024 Mathematics Paper 3 Calculator Paper Foundation tier. Let's jump straight into it. Question number 1. Write down the value of the 7 in the number 3721. So it's 3721. So the 7 is 700. Question number 2. Work out 1/6 of 96. So you can just do on your calculator 96 divided by 6 to work this out, and the answer is 16. Question number 3, write down two factors of 16. So these are numbers that multiply together to get 16. So we can have 1, 2, 4, 8, or 16. We just need two of them. I'll just write 1 and 2. Question number 4. Write the following numbers in order. Start with the lowest. So we want to start with the highest negative number. So minus 7. And the next negative number is minus 3, 0, 4, and 6. Question number 5. Find the value of the square root of 2.25. In my calculator, I've just typed in the square root of 2.25, and it's 3/2, or 1.5. Question number 6. Solve x plus x plus x plus x equals 20. This can be written as 4x equals 20, as there's 4 x's on the left-hand side. If you divide both sides through by 4, you just get x equals 5. Part B, solve y plus 7 equals 24. All we have to do here is take 7 off of each side. So we get y on its own equals 17. And part C, solve w divided by 2 equals 4. We're going to times both sides by 2 here to get w on its own equals 4 times 2, which is just 8. Question 7. Here is a quadrilateral. Write down the special name for this quadrilateral. This is a trapezium. And part B, on the grid below, draw a right-angled triangle. Do this with a ruler in the exam, but I've on an iPad, so I've not got a ruler, but I will just draw your standard right-angled triangle. Question number 8. Nina orders some items from a DIY shop. Here is her bill. Complete all the missing information in the bill. So what we can see is you've got quantity multiplied by cost of the item gives you the total. Therefore, we just need to do the quantity times the cost of the item on this line. So it's going to be on my calculator, 2 times 24.95, and I get £49.90. Then wooden plank, it will be this number multiplied by this number gives you this number. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do 232.5 divided by 7.75 to find the blank number. That's going to be 30. And lastly, we just need the total cost. So all we need to do is add up all 4 numbers over here, including the delivery charge. Again, I'll do this on my calculator. 119.96 plus 49.9 plus 232.5 plus 14.95, and I get £417.31. At the beginning of January, Jeff had 89248 in his bank account. During January, Jeff had £4.47 interest added to his account, paid £240 into his account, and spent £365.5 from his account. How much money did he have in his account at the end of January? So he had 892.48. This question is all about just getting your pluses and minuses the right way around. So we know that he's added £4.47 interest. He has paid in £240 and he has spent £365.5. So again on my calculator, 892.48 plus 4.47 plus 240 minus 365.5, I get £771.45. Question number 9. There are 200 people at a party. 2/5 of the people are children, the rest of the people are adults, 35% of the children are vegetarian, 45% of the adults are vegetarian. How many of the people are not vegetarian? So if we have 200 people and 2/5 of them are children, then if I do 200 multiplied by 2 divided by 5, we have 80 children, which means 120 adults. 35% of the children are vegetarian, so 80 times 35%, which is the same as doing 80 times 35 divided by 100 on your calculator. 28 veggie children. 45% of the adults are vegetarian, so 120 times 45%. The same way, we're going to do 120 times 45 divided by 100, and we get 54 veggie adults. The question wants us to find out how many of the people are not vegetarian, so 28 plus 54 gives you 82 vegetarian, therefore 200 minus 82, which is 118, not vegetarian. And that's your answer. Question number 10. Here is part of a train timetable between Horwich and Manchester. How long should the 7:46 train from Horwich take to get to Salford? So, Horwich is here, 7:13. Salford is here, 7:36. But we want the 7:46 train, so we want to look at this column. To get from 7:46 to Salford 8:05, that is just going to be 19 minutes, as it'll be 14 minutes to get to 8 o'clock, and then 5 added on, so 14 plus 5 gives you 19. Barney has a job interview in Manchester. Barney takes 6 minutes to walk from his home to the station in Lowestoft. He will take 8 minutes to walk from the station in Manchester to his interview. Barney needs to be at the interview no later than 9 o'clock. What is the latest time Barney can leave his house and be on time for the interview? Okay, so what we'll do first is, if he has to be there for 9, we'll take off the 8-minute walk. Just to say, 8:52, sorry, I better write this properly, minus 8 equals 08:52 is the last time he can arrive at the station. So, what train that gets to Manchester from Lowestoft gets there nearest to 8:52? It's going to be the 8:45, isn't it? So 08:45 is latest arriving train that he can get. Therefore, leaves Lowestoft at this time here, 8:17. Therefore, he needs to leave his house 6 minutes before that, at the latest, 08:11. And he'd be pushing that quite fine because the train might leave 30 seconds early, but I don't think the question worries about that. The time of Barney's interview has changed. Now he has to be at the interview no later than 9:15. What effect does the change of time have on the latest time Barney can leave his house? Well, the next train here is 9:15, and he can't get that one because he would be late because he's still got to do the 8-minute walk after that, and he'd then get there for 9:23. So he'll have to get the same train, so it's going to have no effect at all. Next train would make him late. Question 11. You can use this graph to change between miles and kilometres. Change 10 miles into kilometres. So 10 miles is here. Follow the line. Stop here. It's 2 squares in past 15, so just here. And there's 10 squares between 15 and 20, which means each square is going to be half a kilometre, which means 2 squares in from 15 is going to be 1 kilometre after 15, so 16 kilometres. Rob drives 17 miles from Bridlington to Scarborough He then drives 50 kilometres from Scarborough to Staithes. What is the total distance Rob drives? Give your answer in miles. Well, so he's done 17 first. So we need to convert the 50 kilometres into miles using our graph above. But as you can see, the graph only goes up to 30. So instead, we're going to convert 25 kilometres and double it. So follow the line up from 25, and that sits about here, which is about 2.5 squares above 15. But as you can see, this isn't quite as easy as a square is 1 kilometre or anything. So we have 5, 10, 15, 20 squares for 5 miles. So each square is going to be 5 divided by 20. It's going to be 1/4 of a mile per square. So 0.25 miles, sorry about my handwriting, per square. And we have just said that this is 2.5 squares above 15. So I'll go back down here. So we can say 15 plus 2.5 times, it was 1/4 of a mile, wasn't it? 15 plus is number of miles in 25 kilometers. So 2.5 times 0.25 is just 0.625. So 15.625 is 25 kilometers in miles. Therefore, we double it, which is 31.25 is 50 kilometers in miles. Therefore, 17 plus 31.25, 48.25 is his total travel. And the answer gives you a bit of a range here. So you can go anywhere between 47 and 49.5 based on the fact that we read the graph and we had to work out roughly where it was. It was about halfway up, but that's your answer. Question number 12. A shop sells apples and oranges. There are 6 apples in each pack of apples. There are 7 oranges in each bag of oranges. The shop sells X packs of apples and bags of oranges. Write an expression in terms of X and Y for the total number of apples and oranges the shop sells. It's as simple as 6x for 6 apples in a pack plus 7y for number of oranges in a bag. Question 13. The diagram shows a crate and a box. The crate is 3 meters by 1 meter by 1.5 meters. The crate is filled completely with boxes. Each box is 20 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 75 centimeters. Work out the number of boxes in the crate. So what I'm going to do is work out the volume of the crate and then work out the volume of the boxes and do the volume of the crate divided by the number of the volume of the boxes. So volume of crate equals 3 meters times 1 meter times 1.5 meters. 3 times 1 times 1.5 on my calculator is just 4.5. Got to be careful with this because we're in a different units. We're in centimeters here. So volume of box equals 0.2 meters times 0.1 meters times 0.75 meters. 0.2 times 0.1 times 0.75. 0.015 meters cubed. 4.5 divided by 0.015 is going to give us our number of boxes. 0.5 divided by answer. We get 300 exactly. Question 14. Harry works in a shop. From Monday to Friday, his basic rate of pay is £8 per hour. On Saturday and Sunday, Harry's rate of pay is 1.5 times his basic rate of pay. The table shows the number of hours Harry worked each day last week. Work out Harry's total pay last week. So £8 per hour for 6 hours a day, 5 times straight away. So 6 times 8 times 5. Nice and easy start. So that's going to be 48 times 5. £240 for weekdays. Whoops, have I done that? For weekdays. Then for the weekends, this is going to be 1.5 times his rate of pay. 1.5 times 8 is 12. So all we need to do here is 4 times 12 plus 3 times 12, which is 48 plus 36, £84. The total of the two is £324, and that is how much money he's earned in the week. Question 15. The table gives information about the ages of the 41 children in Black Rod Football Club. Work out the mean age, give your answer correct to one decimal place. So we have to multiply each of these frequencies by the age. So 8 times 6 is 48, 7 nines are 63, 15 times 10 is 150, 11 11s are 121, and 2 12s are 24. Then we need to add all these up. And we do 48 plus 63 plus 150 plus 121 plus 24, 406. Then you have to divide by how many children there are. So 406 divided by 41. And we should then get a mean age. And we get 9.9. They want it to one decimal place, don't they? So 9.9 is our answer. Rowan is working out the modal age of the children in Black Rod Football Club. He says the highest frequency is 15, so the modal age is 15. Is Rowan's answer correct? Give a reason for your answer. I don't know where he's got 15 from because this only goes up to 12. So, no. No is the answer. No, the mode. Oh, I see what he means. He's done the 15 frequency and said that was the age. No, the mode is 10. As 10 has frequency of 15. That genuinely confused me that was such a how he thought 15 could be the age there. Oh well. Question number 16. Write 126 as a product of its prime factors. So 126, we'll do a factor tree here, can be divided by 2 and 63. 63 is odd, so that can't be divided by 2, but it can be divided by 3. 21 times. 21 is odd, but it can be divided by 3. 7 times, and 7 prime. So we want 2 times 3 times 3 times 7, or 2 times 3 squared times 7. Part B. Find the highest common factor of 126 and 210. So I'm going to do another little factor tree for 210. Oops, 210 is even, so 2 times 105. 105 is odd. Can that be divided by 3? It can. 3, 35 times. 35 cannot be divided by 3, but it can be divided by 5. And 7. So the 210 is made up of 2 times 3 times 5 times 7. So the highest common factor, the ones that are in both of these two numbers, are 2, 3, just once, and 7. So 2 times 3 times 7 is 42. And that is your highest common factor. Question number 17. The table shows information about the times in minutes 100 people took to complete a bike race. On the grid below, draw a frequency polygon for this information. Okay, so what's important here is taking the midpoint of each of these times. So 130, and the frequency is 12, so we can just do a point at 130 and 12. 150 is the midpoint of the next one, and 28, so that's up here. Luckily here each square is just worth 1. 170 is the midpoint next, and that's at 30. 190 is the next midpoint, and that's at 22. And then 210 is the next one, and that's at 8. And then we just need to draw them, join them with line segments, just like this. Use a ruler for this. And we should, there we go, have a nice frequency polygon for you. Question 18. Write 3.402 times 10 to the 5 as an ordinary number. That's just going to be, so at the moment we've got 3.40200. So we need to move it 5 times the decimal point. So once, twice, 3, 4, 5. So our answer is going to be 34020. 340,200. Write 0.8026 in standard form. We only have to move the decimal point once here, so behind the 8, so that we have a number at the front. So 8.026 times 10 to the minus 1. Question number 19. Use ruler and compasses to construct the bisector of angle ABC. You must show your construction lines. So I've obviously not got my ruler and compasses that I can show you with on this iPad, but I'll tell you what you need to do. So this is the angle here we're looking at, angle ABC. You need to construct basically a little arc. Put your compass here where the point crosses line AB, and put your compasses here afterwards. And you're going to draw a tiny arc around here somewhere with the compasses. Then you're going to move them to the other side, put them on the other point, and that should also create a little arc. And so you can find the point where the two of them cross. You make a little X. Then you need to draw a straight line from that midpoint where the two little arcs cross to point B here. And it should look something like this. Now, these questions, whenever they come up, are exactly the same. Just maybe you might have an angle facing a different direction. So it's all about practice and just making sure you know how to do this exact. I know my drawing's a little bit rough because it should actually be in the middle. Probably a bit down here somewhere. But you get the idea. Question 20. Dan is playing cards. The probability that he will win a game of cards is 0.3. Dan plays 2 games of cards. Complete the probability tree diagram. We're just going to see a lot of 0.3s and 0.7s here. So 0.7, as everything needs to add up to 1 on each possibility. 0.3, 0.7, 0.3, 0.7. Part B, work out the probability that Dan does not win either game. That's going to be does not win, 0.7 times 0.7. So do on my calculator as 0.49. And question 21. Robin buys a total of 240 pens and pencils, where the number of pens compared to the number of pencils is a ratio of 3 to 5. Robin pays 9p for each pen. She sells each pen for 11p. Robin pays 6p for each pencil. She sells each pencil for 10p. Robin sells all the pens and pencils. Work out Robin's percentage profit. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. You must show all your working. This is actually a pretty complicated question. So, what we're going to do first, number of pens, number of pencils, ratio 3 to 5. This is the same as saying 3 eighths, as 3 and 5 is 8, is pens, and 5 eighths is pencils. So, pens are 3 eighths of 240. 240 times 3 divided by 8 is 90. So we've got 90 pens. And then pencils is going to be 5 eighths, 240, which is 150. Okay. So we are told she sells all the pens and pencils, which is great for us. So on each pen, she makes a profit of 2p on each pen. So total profit on the pens is 90 times 2p, 180p. She makes a profit of 4p on each pencil, so 150 times 4p, 600p. Therefore, total profit is 780p. Now, we need to work out how much she paid for all of these. So she paid 9p for each pen times 90 for the number of pens is 810p. She paid 6p for each pencil times 150, so 900p. Total paid 1,710p. We're almost there. Therefore, profit percentage is going to be the profit total divided by the amount she paid total. And we get 780 divided by 1,710, and we get 45.6%. They want it correct to one decimal place. So just check that in the question every time, because you can drop really easy marks. So doing a complicated calculation like that, and then you give it to 2 decimal places or something, and it's horrible. So that's the answer there. Question number 22. The stem and leaf diagram shows the scores of 23 students from School A. 23 students from School B did the same test. Their median score was 56. The range of their scores was 47. Compare the distribution of the test scores of the students from School A with the distribution of the test scores of the students from School B. So, the median of School A is going to be the middle. So, right, so we've got 23 students. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This one, 57 is the median in School A. 57, median School A. Therefore, we can say on average, School A scored higher, as School B got 56. The range is 79 minus 30. So range of School A is 49. Therefore, all we need to say is the range of School A's results was more varied than School B. Your 4 marks here are for identifying the correct median, identifying the correct range, and making a correct comparison for each of them. Question number 23. Jana used her calculator to find the value of a number t. The answer on a calculator began 10.2. Complete the error interval for t. We have t is greater than or equal to, so this is going to be 10.2, and it's going to be less than 10.3. This is because if she's had 10.299999, then that needs to round up to 10.3. But if she had 10.19, it wouldn't have come up on the calculator as 10.2. So that's pretty much just it. Question 24. ABC is a right-angled triangle. Calculate the length of AB. Give your answer correct to one decimal place. So we want AB. Let's call this X, which is the opposite side. And we have the adjacent side. Don't need to use the hypotenuse at all, so we need to use tan. So trigonometry. Tan 62 equals opposite over adjacent, x over 7.6. Therefore, x equals 7.6 tan 62. On my calculator, 7.6 tan 62. We get 14.293. Question wants it to one decimal place. 14.3. Question 25. Part A, simplify fully. 2x cubed y to the 5 times 7x squared y. So looking at the numbers first, we only have a 2 and a 7, so that's going to be 14. X to the 3 and x to the 2, we add these together, so we get x to the 5, y to the 5, and y to the 1 power gives you y to the 6. And that is all we need, 14x to the 5, y to the 6. Simplify m squared to the power minus 3. Because we have brackets now, this time they multiply together, to give m to the minus 6. Question 26. Peter invests £4,500 in a savings account for 3 years. He gets 1.8% per year compound interest. Work out the total amount of interest Peter gets. All we have to do here is 4,500 times 1 plus 0.018. Now that's your 1.8% interest added on top. And because it's across 3 years, it's compound interest, we can just do cubes. So we can do it in one smooth motion on the calculator. So 4,500 multiplied by, open brackets, 1 plus 0.018, close brackets, to the power 3. And I get 4747.40. The question wants the amount of interest, though, not what's in his account. So 4747.40 minus the initial investment gives £247.40. And we've reached the final question. Line L is drawn on the grid. Find an equation for line L. It's going to be in the form y equals mx plus c. So what we're going to do first is identify the gradient. So it's going to be the difference in y divided by the difference in x. So we'll take 2 points. I'll take this one here and this one here. It's a straight line. So here we have y is 3 and x is 0. So this is 0, 3. And up here we have minus 3, 9. So the difference in y is 9 minus 3. So 6. Difference in x is minus 3, 0, minus 3. Gradient, therefore, is minus 2. So we have y equals minus 2x plus c. Then we'll put in 0, 3 into this formula. X is 0, so we get 3 equals c. Therefore, our equation of the line is y equals minus 2x plus 3. And that is the end of the question and the paper. As ever, thanks very much for watching. Hope this was helpful. Any questions, leave them below. Drop a follow if you would like, and I'll catch you next time.